We're going to talk today about Hulk Hogan and Ozzy Osbourne, and you might hear some background noise. We got some Fortnite playing in the background by Sophie. You probably can't hear her back there, but it might be coming through. I don't know. But I wanted to talk about this. Ozzy Osbourne recently passed away on July 22nd, and then Hulk Hogan passed away today, July 24th, 2025. I don't think anyone is ever ready for it. I think everyone is always caught off guard. Death comes at a very hidden time for all of us. And Hulk Hogan, he was just getting ready. He was 71 years old, and he was just about to release this new. I saw this thing that he was, it looks like almost given hope and an opportunity for wrestlers that wanted to do kind of what he did. And this kind of program he was getting set up. And I just saw he was like going to do the first event was going to be at the end of August. But Hulk Hogan dead at 71 years old after cardiac arrest. Latest updates. And then Ozzy, he was, how old was he? Born in 1948. 76 years old. So Hulk Hogan 71 and Ozzy Osbourne 76 years old. Oh man. Sophie, did you know much about either one of them, Hulk Hogan or Ozzy Osbourne? Sophie said she didn't know really much about either one of them. You were more familiar, I'm assuming, with Hulk Hogan, right? Was he still like kind of in the wrestling game when you were watching it with like WWE? A little bit. I mean, you saw him every now and then? Yeah, I wanted to talk about this because both of these guys, they were very different. It seemed like in the way that they conducted themselves, the way I hadn't kept up with Ozzy since he had his show back in like the early 2000s. He was pretty widely known on the Osbourne show that they were doing for a long time. And he was always just, mostly drawn to him, as most people are, by his music. His music was I thought it was he paved the way for a lot of people that are interested in metal music and people that like that genre, that style. And he was authentic. He was real. He was known as the Prince of Darkness, which, I mean, that might not be a claim to fame for a lot of people. A lot of people might not like that necessarily. But overall, I think he owned it. I don't know where he went towards the end of his life, if he was still kept kind of that dark kind of attitude, or if he was, I think he was just a regular guy. It was just a lot of just playing a part, being a person that kind of, because I always hear stories about him in his concerts. He was just wild at his concerts. And I heard that he bit off the head of a bat. That's the thing that always stands out to me, that he did that. Hulk Hogan, on the other hand, I grew up watching Hulk Hogan. He was America's boy. He was America's man. Whenever any Royal Rumble back in the 90s, early 90s, late 90s, Hulk Hogan was the guy that was going to go in and he was going to end the Royal Rumble. If he was going in, you knew he was going to take it all. He was going to win. He was going to win it all. He represented America. Ozzy, on the other hand, he represented kind of like the United Kingdom. He was you could definitely tell his accent. He had that accent, that deep drawl he had. I loved their show, The Osbournes. That was a good show on MTV. It was very funny. That was when reality TV was just taking its form. It was different. It was unique. It was something that there was a storyline happening every episode with his wife, his children. It was funny. He and Ozzy was just kind of out of it most of the time. He was just walking into any situation, and he was just, he had that Ozzy aura about him that was just different than anyone, and he owned it. He lived it. I mean, now I just think about, I don't know where they were at in their lives, especially Ozzy Osbourne. I don't know his personal relationship with the Lord, how I don't know anything about his religious beliefs, any beliefs that he had. Hulk Hogan, on the other hand, I do know that he was a professing Christian. He was a person that claimed Jesus as his Lord and Savior. And I was just watching videos about this because this is out there now. He was like, whatever I'm going to do it 110%. I am all in, brother. And that's what Hulk Hogan was. He was all in when he embraced the Lord. So I pray that both of these guys are with the Lord right now. God knows everyone's hearts. God knows where people are at. And it's not for us to even it doesn't even matter for us on this side of eternity, on this side of heaven. We don't even need to really speculate about that because we will be reunited with our family, our friends in heaven, for anyone that trusts in the Lord. So I hope that both of them were, you know. I don't know what Ozzy professed. I don't know if he professed to be any type of faith or not or what. A lot of his heavy metal, I mean, you could say definitely went against the grain of religiosity and faith. Having Black Sabbath, I mean, just I was I wasn't alive when he was doing all that kind of stuff, but even if I was watching it or even had gone to those concerts, I wouldn't have put two and two together. I wouldn't have understood and I don't even know if he really understood the depths of Black Sabbath calling it that. If it was just something to be difference, be different than everyone, or if it really was something dark, I don't know, because I think a lot of people, we are all dark. Everyone is dark in a sense, it calls us, we are darkness, until God shines on us. We are darkness. So it's like we all have that in us. And even if you become a Christian, you're still going to have a little dark. You're going to probably a lot of darkness still in you, so him being called wow, that is loud, Sophie. That is loud. Okay, try not to be. That was very loud. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know where he stands. I don't know where his views or the Kelly Osbourne. I wanted to see. She said, "Break silence on Ozzy's death." She said, "I lost my best friend." I just remember both of them, Kelly, and then the other one. I liked Kelly a lot. I did, for some reason. I liked Kelly a lot, especially on their show, The Osbournes. And her whole, the way she looks completely changed from when she was on that show compared to where she is now. She's always been different. She's always had kind of the crazy hair, the different do's, the different all that. And but it's hard not to love anyone when you hear that British accent. That British accent can just win anyone over. So Stelly, who is Stelly? Stelly 38. I don't know who that is. No, Kelly, did she change her name to Stella? So it was Jack. Jack was the one. That's what it was. Jack was the boy. He was the son, Ozzy. But I mean, you think of Hulk Hogan and you think of Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, one is hardcore America. The other one just got the sweetest British accent ever, and he does seem like drugs took a toll on him. I don't know all of that, but anyone that's in rock, that was a rock star, it would have been hard not to be heavily into drugs, and I mean, I think a lot of people take drugs just to get by. A lot of people just take drugs just to survive sometimes, just to numb the pain that we all have. We all have a lot of pain going on in here. And sometimes drugs is the only thing keeping us sane, I guess. I don't know. I know for me, medically, taking prescription drugs, that I hated that because it puts you in a different world, puts you in a different trance. You're no longer tied to reality. You're just numb to this world. You're not experiencing it. You're not in the game. And sometimes you just want to check out. So I'm bouncing back between Hulk Hogan because I like both of these guys a lot. Ozzy, some of my favorite songs are Ozzy Osbourne songs. I go to, as my favorite all time is the Mama I'm Coming Home. That one just it takes me back. It takes me back to just a time, just when I was just free falling and just flying down and just trying to make sense of life. And it's just you get that nostalgia hearing that song, Mama I'm Coming Home. Man, I mean, a lot of the other songs when I heard that he had passed away, I did go to trying to listen to just some of the other stuff. I really didn't get into a lot of it. I know his biggest one ever was Crazy Train. That was the one that if you're going out on a football field, you're listening to Crazy Train. And then I couldn't probably name half of the songs he did, but, and he did, so he was doing them probably 70s, 80s, and then in the 90s, he's probably cooling off. He was a part of Black Sabbath was not just him. As any rock star group, they all start together, and then the big guy, the name, usually goes off and does his own thing. And I think that's what happened with Ozzy. He was the guy, the face, and he didn't stay with his Black Sabbath crew. That's what I'm guessing. I wasn't watching whenever he was there. I wasn't alive when Ozzy Osbourne was a part of Black Sabbath, so I couldn't name the drummer, I couldn't name the guitarist, I couldn't name any of that stuff. But when Ozzy Osbourne, he stepped out, he took a leap of faith, and he stepped out on his own, and he became Ozzy. Ozzy. And then Hulk Hogan, man, Hulk Hogan, he did some movies in his heyday. I remember he was doing some movies, Tropic Thunder and Suburban Commando. And wrestling has went ups and downs. It has been a roller coaster ride. There's been some things that are great, some things that are just, it's just something to watch. But like, I think the best wrestling ever was definitely with Hulk Hogan. When he was doing it, he was like the Wonder Boy. He was the guy that the saved the day. He was the hero. He was that size 13 in your face, you know, and he just throwing up those guns. Nobody had guns like Hulk Hogan. Nobody had guns like Hulk Hogan. And he probably got into the steroids. Everyone did. I'm assuming he did. And but to live to about 71, I mean, he still lived a long time. He still looked good at the end of his life. He wasn't just in a wheelchair. He was walking around still doing good. He was still doing business. And he was still doing a lot of good things for America. He loved America. And like I said earlier, he loved Jesus. He loved Jesus. And that's the most important thing. But I can remember him running out there for the Royal Rumbles. And it's like when Hulk Hogan stepped on the stage, game over. Game over. He was the one that people got behind. He was the one that just inspired the crowds. This is crazy. I did not realize he was 300 pounds. 300 pounds. 6'7", 302 pounds. That's crazy. That is a big man. He was also in the Rocky, was it Rocky 4? It was one of the Rockies. I can't think of it. Was it Rocky 3 he was in? But he looked like, compared to Sylvester Stallone, and Sylvester Stallone is a pretty loaded guy. Hulk Hogan got on there and he looked like 7'5", But as we can see here, he was 6'7". So he wasn't over 7 foot, but still a beast of a man. And I just remember Hulk Hogan whenever he was in wrestling and he was the good guy. He was the protagonist. He was the guy you rooted for. And then he went off the rails. You could say it's a little bit fixed, but he went off the rails when he went to the NWO and he became the bad boy. He became a bad guy, And those guys, they were the bad crew, the bad posse that was out there. But it was a role. As I came to learn later on in life, wrestling is it's fixed. It's not real in a sense. It's not fake. It's not fake. It's real, but it's fixed. Both of these guys, I know, they're both different. They both led a lot different lives. They both came from different backgrounds and they went different directions. One was a wrestler, one was a musical artist, but they were both entertainers. That was the biggest thing. They were big entertainers. They wanted to give everyone a good show, and probably better everyone else's life, make everyone else feel good about life. I hope one day we will see them both again in heaven and be with them. I don't know. Like I said, Hulk Hogan, he was a professing Christian. I don't know what Ozzy Osbourne professed, but either, like, I don't want to just tread lightly over that and just say, oh, either way, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, that is the only thing that matters. So it is weird. People die every day, but people go on. You just, when they're not on the screen, you just forget about them. You don't think they're out. They don't exist anymore. Whereas there's so many famous people out there, they're just not doing their thing anymore. They've cooled down. Their careers are slowing down. And then we hear later on that they passed away. But these two guys were people that were very good at what they did. Very good at what they did, and they were very unique, talented individuals. And I'm glad that we got to experience Hulk Hogan, and I'm glad we got to experience Ozzy Osbourne because both of them were amazing people and amazing artists and creators and entertainers, before this whole new wave that we are stepping into of like, this is the internet on hyper speed, hyperdrive. They were doing it when it was just a one eye in the sky. And they were like Ozzy Osbourne just being the face on a concert, out on the stage and doing his thing, and that was when rock was rock, hardcore metal. He was doing it like hardcore metal, and he made a name for himself. Just he had just a following, a huge following, a huge just people wanted to see Ozzy, and I mean, both of these guys, you could say anything that they were even into their late in life. People were very always interested in them. They were always doing something. They were all like till about the day they died, they were always doing something, it seemed like. Something that was making people's lives better, trying to do something to entertain, inspire. So, like I said, I'm very glad we got to experience Ozzy and we got to experience Hulk Hogan. I hope one day I hope they're with the Lord, but they led very different lives, and they were both very different human beings. But I'm thankful we had them. I'm thankful God gave them to us, and we got to see them. We got to live with them. We got to experience both of them. So I hope you realize, and you were able to experience the careers that they had, and you were able to watch them. You were able to just live it, be a part of it, because I don't want to just like anyone. Anyone passes away, it's a tough thing for the ones left behind. It's not tough for the ones that leave, but it's tough for the ones that remain behind. All right, we'll leave it at that. Have a great day, everyone. Peace.